Space Center, where they just give us everything nominal. And there we are. Everything was fine. No hiccups, no drama, nothing to worry about. And so I was really happy with Butch and Sonny, and for Butch and Sonny, and happy with the whole team. As Butch said, thank you to the United Launch Alliance for a great ride up, and welcome them to the club of rocket.
Favorite part of being an astronaut, Mike? Is it days like this?
Definitely days like this, Ramon. Very much glad to be an astronaut on this day. I think Butch and Sonny might be a little bit happier than me to be an astronaut today, but this is definitely a great day. And if you're not on the rocket yourself, helping your friends is a really great way to be an astronaut.
And so, Mike, talk to us about, this is, again, a crewed flight test. Certification is what's next for Starliner. So what's the process to get us to your flight next year?
Well, first we have to, Butch and Sonny, they've gotten to orbit. That's kind of step one. Now they got to get to the space station and complete their flight test objectives. Once they land safely, any changes, any things that can be improved and made, and then we'll get ready for us at the post-certification mission number 1 that we call Starliner 1. I think Dragon had a similar one. They called themselves Crew 1. Well, we're Starliner 1, and we'll be ready to fly when the spacecraft is.
Right. And so obviously there's still a lot on this road for Starliner, but when you do fly next year on Starliner 1, Mike, I know that there's a bunch of people here who are very excited for you, so much so that they created this shirt.
Oh, no.
I love it.
Mike Fink Fan Club. That's right. Oh, he's hiding, guys. He's hiding behind his computer right now.
I am deeply humbled. Thank you.
No, yes. It just goes to show that so many people are invested in Boeing and NASA and ULA working together on the Starliner program. So we celebrated together with the crewed flight test today and launch. And again, we still have so much more of the mission to go, and we can't wait for your flight for Starliner 1. Alrighty.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again to everyone who submitted questions throughout the broadcast. You really helped to contribute to the broadcast. And Mike, really great to have you here marking this historic launch with us.
It's great to be on the team, and you guys are both are extreme professionals, as well as our production team and the PAO team that's right up the hill from us. Great job, everyone.
Absolutely, and today's liftoff could not have happened without the many teams across the country supporting this launch, which of course is just the first of many.
Eastern Time right here on NASA TV, followed by continuous coverage of Butch and Sonny's transit to the International Space Station. Starliner is on course to dock with the station in just over 25 hours from now, and then the ISS crew will welcome them on board. Again, we will take all of that live on NASA TV, NASA Plus, and our social media channels.
And their journey will provide the data needed to bring Boeing closer to having the continuous privilege of carrying astronauts to and from the space station.
Hey, and that's the perfect opportunity, right, to pull up this QR code we have ready for you. If you scan it, it'll take you to go.nasa.gov/CFT, where you will find everything you'd want to know about this crew flight test and also NASA's commercial crew program, which is why we're flying today.
Mike, it's been great to have you with us. Your insight today was important and invaluable.
Thank you very much, and the Boeing company should get a big pat on the back today for a job well done so far.
Yes, again, congratulations to all the team. Thank you, Dee. Thank you, Mike. We really appreciate your time here on the official launch broadcast of NASA's Boeing crew flight tests. And that's going to do it for us here on the Space Coast of Florida. For Boeing, ULA, and NASA, thank you so much for watching our official broadcast of this historic crew flight test. We leave you now with a replay of launch. Have a spectacular day. Here are the astronauts, Commander Butch Wilmore and pilot Sonny Williams, as you can see, suiting up for their mission into the history books.
This is a tradition. The whole idea here is to lose to the chief.
Out of the suit-up room, Commander Butch Wilmore and pilot Sonny Williams walking to an elevator at the end of the hallway. Our CFT crew taking their first steps outside, now en route to launch pad 41.
Crew transport vehicle is into the pad.
Butch and Sonny arriving on level 12.
Last look at planet Earth for a while, saying hi to us. Hi, Sonny.
Butch getting in there.
Gotten strapped into their seats here.
Hatch closure complete. Roger.
3, 2, 1, ignition. And liftoff of Starliner Atlas V, carrying 2 American heroes, drawing a line to the stars for all of us. control officer here in the room, seeing good data on that.
Houston, Matt 2. Houston, Matt 2.
Go ahead, sir.
You're back with Mission Control Houston, coming to you from Johnson Space Center. Team here in Mission Control continuing to watch over the Starliner systems. They have been continuing to watch the sublimator issue that we mentioned just before we went back to Kennedy Space Center there for an update. Those sublimators are used to cool the vehicle down before the vehicle uses its radiators for cooling. It is running out of water a little more quickly than it was expected to, but the radiators will be able to take over the cooling of Starliner just in the next few minutes. So we'll keep an eye on that, but it should not be a problem for today's flight. Another update that we got while we were getting those final words from Kennedy Space Center was that the team here on the ground is getting good data from the VESTA system. That is a key system on board Starliner. It stands for Vision-Based Electro-Optical Sensory Tracking Assembly, which is a long name because it's very important.
So that system actually does many things for Starliner. It's a combination star tracker. It's also the cameras that look at station and tell the Starliner flight control system exactly where it is and which direction it is pointed relative to space station. So the spacecraft autopilot itself will use that information during docking for automated dockings, and the crew can see those cameras while they're doing their manual docking should they need it.
So you'll be hearing a lot about the Vestas over the next 24 hours as Starliner makes its way to the space station. That is a key part of the systems that we'll be checking out along the way and then using for the actual docking.
Yes, and that system is made up of 6 cameras. It's got it's a dual redundant system, so there's 2 copies of each. There's 2 regular spectrum cameras that similar to what the human eye can see. One for a narrow field of view for looking longer distance, one for a wide field of view for shorter distances. There's also an infrared camera that can help Starliner see station while it's in the dark. It also has a laser-based LiDAR rangefinder that can also pick out the structure on station and kind of paint a 3D view of station inside of the flight computer. So that gets tied in with the rest of the data to help Starliner know exactly where it is relative to station. Starliner's finishing up its third of 3 navigation calibration maneuvers. The next things coming up are enabling some of the...
You have good rad flow. I'm not sure if they made a notice, but there was a few warnings pop up. Those were associated with the radiators coming online. We're still watching it, but good rad flow. No action.
Yep, good rad flow. We did see him and no action. We figured that. Thanks.
And those radiators, that was one of the items I was going to say is coming up soon. Starliner turns on the radiator system based on what the current temperature is, based a little bit on solar activity and the heating it got during ascent. So now that that system's on, cooling Starliner, we are looking towards getting Starliner pointed in the direction for the next upcoming burn, which is the NC burn, or the phasing burn, where that C means catch-up. During that phasing maneuver, Starliner is going to stay in a slightly elliptical orbit, but at a lower altitude than station, and it's going to use that time to catch up with station, and then we'll later move up to station's altitude for final rendezvous and docking.
View you're seeing here is of the flight control team in Mission Control Houston. In the center of the view there is Mike Lammers, the lead flight director for this mission. Next to him, Rick Hempling, and on his other side, Josh Joshua Kutrick, the day's Capcom that you've been hearing talk with the crew. You saw Lammers there pointing around the room as he was going through a no-go call for moving into orbit ops, the next mode that Starliner will be working in, having finished its ascent and its orbital insertion burn.
Starliner, you have good cooling and your go for orbit ops.
Outstanding. Good cooling, go for orbit ops. And with that, we have another message we'd like you to relay.
Everyone is listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, if y'all could call Kennedy Space Center crew quarters and strongly request that they release Joe Acaba and James Branson from quarantine. I'm sure they would appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a call. I'm not sure Joe's going to want to leave, but we'll pass it along.
You may be right. He said a lot of free bacon.
Sounds good.
You heard there that go for orbit ops that was communicated up to the crew that we were talking about just a moment ago. And also, of course, Butch Wilmore calling down that the chief astronaut, Joe Acaba, can be released from quarantine. Butch and Sonny went into quarantine April 22nd, so they had a bit of a longer than expected quarantine as they waited for today's launch, but they are safely in space. So now that those who have been in close contact with them and needed to preserve their own quarantine to make sure that no germs were sent up to the International Space Station can also end their quarantine.
And Houston, are you ready for PCS activation?
We're ready. Here go for PCS activation.
Here we go. And Houston, I burped the PPM suit open via step 1.14 3 times. It keeps cycling back above up to 152.
Okay, we copy all, and the word is that you can just hold there and move on. It's a good value.
Okay, we'll go with that. All right, we'll call the PCS system act complete for my steps. Let me know if, check me, make sure I didn't miss it.
We're checking. Starliner, your PCS activation looks good.
Outstanding.
For those just joining us, or for those who've been watching since launch, Starliner is doing the last bit of coast before it gets to the NC burn, or the phasing burn. We've got about a little over 9 minutes till we get to that burn. In the meantime, Starliner is currently in the process of turning back on its OMAC engines, or its orbital maneuvering and control jets. Those are the larger thrusters that will push Starliner for large burns, large trajectory changes on orbit.
And Houston, the hatch locking device is installed.
We copy, hatch locking device installed, thanks.
And Starliner is finishing its pointing maneuver to get into the NC thrust line orientation. That is getting Starliner pointed in the correct orientation to perform the NC burn.
Step 9, com check, air to ground.
Step 9, com check. Houston has you loud and clear.
I read you the same. We're set up via the table.
Roger. Starliner, good config for the NC burn.
Good config for NC. Houston, Starliner, com check on the handheld mic.
Houston has you loud and clear, handheld mic.
Give me another 5 count there, Houston.
This is Houston, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we have you loud and clear, handheld.
Yeah, we're just checking the volume on the speaker. Thanks.
Copy.
And you just heard some back and forth there between Mission Control and Butch Wilmore. The crews switched off of using their headsets. That way they don't have to stay wired into the console the whole time and wear those headsets. They've switched over to the speaker and handheld mic inside Starliner for any communication they need to do down to the ground. We're now coming up on about 3 minutes till the NC phasing burn. We're coming up on 2 minutes till Starliner's NC burn. Starliner is currently pointed forwards in the direction that it's traveling. It's going to fire its thrusters, increasing the altitude of the other side of its orbit. So right now, Starliner did its orbital insertion burn to raise its altitude. Now it needs to raise the other side of its elliptical orbit. We're expecting that NC burn to be about 25 seconds long. And 30 seconds till the expected NC burn. And NC burn is starting for good OMAC burn. Engine burns.
Good NC burn.
Good NC.
Affirm. You're on your way to tail sun, step 12.
We see it.
And that call up from Capcom Joshua Kutrick to the crew. And Butch responding, he sees the same data. Starliner had a successful NC burn. Starliner's orbit is now a slightly elliptical orbit, varying between 324.7 kilometers and 323.6 kilometers. In the meantime, while Starliner waits for its next burn, coming up, the NHPC-1 burn, which is 20 hours and 42 minutes away. Starliner is moving itself into a tail-to-sun mode, so it's going to point its solar rays back at the sun and just use it to kind of top up the batteries while Starliner continues its phasing catch-up maneuver with ISS. with this first section of downtime that the crew's going to have, they're going to be using this time to get out of their suits. Should take a few minutes per crew member, but in the meantime, Starliner is also starting to open up its NDS NASA docking system entry cover. That should stay open for a majority of the flight. That way Starliner will be ready for docking. And flight controllers here in Houston, noting they see the entry cover open. We're getting that telemetry data and showing it on our virtual external display of Starliner.
Starliner, your entry cover is open and complete. You also have a good ADF cal, and we're with you moving over to rendezvous monitor.
Yep, just about to do that ourselves. Here we go. Rendezvous monitor.
And crew acknowledging, they also see NDS cover open. Also noted getting called up is good ADS cal for attitude determination system. Now that Starliner has moved into a different orientation, just confirming that its internal calculation of its position and orientation agrees with what the crew's seeing on the ground.
Good morning. I'm NASA's Sandra Jones, and I am joined by Jim May from Boeing, and we are going to continue to bring you live coverage of the in-flight portion, the phasing portion of Starliner's mission to the International Space Station. If you're just joining us, Wilmore and Williams launched at 9:52 a.m. Central Time this morning today from Space Launch Complex 41 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. The duo did liftoff on the Atlas V rocket and are slated to dock to the International Space Station's forward port of the Harmony module just a little less than 24 hours from now, targeting that docking at 11:15 a.m. Central Time tomorrow, June 6th. Following docking, the crew will complete hatch opening operations, targeting that hatch opening around 1 p.m. Central Time tomorrow afternoon, and welcome remarks to follow around 1:20 p.m. Central. At this time, Wilmore and Williams are awake and have a busy few hours ahead of them. First up was the NC burn, which took place just a short time ago and was successful. This burn helps get Starliner in the proper trajectory in preparation for tomorrow's docking. Next up, the crew will begin to prepare for their first PAO, or Public Affairs Office Mustang event. This is the first opportunity for the crew to provide remarks on the mission thus far and their flight into orbit. Following this, the CFT crew will also conduct some far-field piloting checkouts and provide feedback to the teams on the ground on those checkouts. We will discuss these piloting checkouts a bit more here shortly as we approach them. Following this, the crew will complete data collection on VESTA, or the Vision-Based Electro-Optical Sensor Tracking Assembly. This is essentially a vision-based system which helps with tracking and docking, of course, for Starliner. The crew will also complete other tasks and checkouts, do a little cleanup, all before completing a medical conference and getting some rest. So as you can see, quite a busy few hours ahead for the crew. Because this is a test flight, there are multiple checkouts and tests that occur as part of the eventual certification process of Starliner. We will have the opportunity to hear from managers at both NASA and Boeing and United Launch Alliance about today's successful launch of Butch and Sunny. You can tune in and listen into that news conference on the NASA TV channel or the nasa.gov website. We will be splitting our channels, so we'll have a media-only loop that will be provided as audio-only coverage. We are continuing to cover every step of the way along this mission until we do dock, but we will be splitting those channels out in order to broadcast the post-launch news conference. And if you are just joining us, we now are over an hour and a half into today's flight of the first crewed flight of the Boeing Starliner spacecraft.
Starliner, Houston, Air to Ground 1, Vesta Sensor Orientation Command sent.
You did hear that call up to the crew regarding the Vesta, or the Vision-Based Electro-Optical Sensor Tracking Assembly. This is that vision-based system, really important for docking and tracking of Starliner. Later today, there will be an entire checkout and data collection of the Vesta system, and we'll be sure to cover it live every step of the way.
Starliner, Houston, when able. Not urgent, just a couple things.
And again, we are targeting a post-launch news conference to begin here momentarily, where leaders from NASA, Boeing, and ULA will have the opportunity to discuss today's flight of Butch and Sunny. There's a successful liftoff occurring at 9:52 a.m. Central Time this morning. And those leaders will also answer questions from the media during that news conference. You can join and watch along on that post-launch news conference if you would like on nasa.gov or NASA Plus.
Starliner, no action on cabin fan DP. It's a deucer, and we're working on clearing the message for you. Starliner, we just want to make sure we have you after going back to 2 grounds and lower LDR. So do you hear this? Houston on 1. Starliner, this is Houston on Air Ground 1 in the blind. And we think that our audio is getting on board and that you hear this, but we have not heard from you. So if you're here in Houston, feel free to just deflect the RHC, deflection on the RHC. We'll see that if you're hearing us. And we saw that, Houston. We saw the RHC, so stand by. We're still not hearing you on the loops, but we did see your action.
And the teams here in
Starliner, Houston, one thing we're hearing here is to check the handheld mic connector, make sure it's fully plugged in still and hasn't dislodged. And Starliner, one more reminder, just things we can think of here is check that your chip is installed. You'll need that plugged in to use the handheld mic.
And you are
All right,
hearing...
Houston, we've cycled all the buttons. Chippa is installed. How do you read air to ground 1?
Starliner, we have you loud and clear now, air to ground 1.
Okay, great. Fantastic. We are with you in rendezvous monitor.
Okay, copy. Just getting caught up. Vester sensor orientation command has been sent, and then I have one action for you for the humidity system if you're ready.
We are ready.
All right, we saw your activation. We would like to cover the desiccant under seat 1, and so whenever it's convenient, we want you to go to the provisions bag on the cargo adapter, get the desiccant cover out, and you can use that to cover the desiccant under seat number 1. I'll copy.
Okay, Sonny will grab that and we'll cover the desiccant under seat 1.
Good words.
And I don't know if you heard our question earlier, but the male piddle packs, the urine packages, we cannot find those. We found the clips, but no pack.
Okay, we did not hear that question, but we'll take it and get right back to you with an answer.
And one more time, the location of that desiccant cover, Houston.
Yeah, it's in a cargo adapter on seat 5 cargo adapter, and the bag we think is going to be labeled vehicle provisions. It's the bag on the seat 5 cargo adapter.
Okay, seat 5 cargo adapter, vehicle provisions, copy.
And you did hear some calls from here on the ground up to the crew of Starliner. Mainly you heard the voice of NASA astronaut Butch Wilmore, who is the commander of Starliner, stepping through some procedures to ensure that communication was routed properly. All of that seems to be resolved at this point, and working through some cargo operations and stowage.
Okay, Houston, I put the cover on underneath seat 1. For underneath seat 5, do you need something done there as well?
Copy on Starliner. I think you're good, but I'll check. Sonny, we double checked and you're in a good config. No action needed under seat 5. Starliner, the NDS SCS checkout's complete and nominal.
Outstanding. Thanks.
And Starliner, per the timeline, if you're good with it, we are going to power on Mustang. Power on and Mustang.
That sounds good.
Capcom calling up to the crew. They're going to power on the Mustang system. A reminder that Mustang system is the series of cameras and microphones that are throughout Starliner's cockpit. In this case, they're going to record a message to send down to Earth later. A few remarks on the mission so far, what Butch and Sonny are thinking, but they should be simultaneously downcasting that over the air-to-ground loop, and so we should be able to pick it up here on the live feed.
Starliner Houston, for the pedal pack location, we're here in starboard bag by the side hatch.
Say again, what was it you said the location for what?
It's the location that you were asking about for the pedal packs and starboard bag beside the side hatch.
Yeah, that's where we looked. We didn't see them. We'll look again.
Yeah.
There was the yellow clips were there. There were some pads, but there were no bags for the pads.
Copy all, and we'll dig deeper somewhat. Starliner for Butch. We're still investigating your question, but in the meantime, we're hearing there are more bags in the environmental health kit, same place you'd be pulling the CSACP out of.
We copy. Yep, we found some bags.
Copy.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Catching up on Starliner's CFT mission to ISS. It's been about 43 minutes since Starliner performed the NC, or phasing burn, and that's put Starliner on a trajectory to catch up with Space Station and dock just a little over 23 hours from now. The crew is getting themselves comfortable inside the cockpit, doing a handful of things after getting out of their suits. We do expect an upcoming call down from the crew over the air-to-ground loop that we should be able to hear on the broadcast. We are also expecting a final checkout of the NDS system before they stow it away again for use later for docking tomorrow. As part of the preparations for the wait to the next burn, while the crew gets themselves.
Starliner, Houston, before we on the ground step into some cabin fan config, we just wanted to make sure, confirm you guys are out of your suits fully doffed.
Yes, we are de-suited and ready for far field piloting checkouts on your call.
Copy all. On that note, Starliner, confirm centerline cameras set up, ready to go.
That's in work.
Copy.
And Butch confirming that the crew have gotten out of their suits. They did call down that they found the BioBreak items that they were looking for. Upcoming, the crew is going to install the centerline camera. So there is a removable camera that gets mounted to the center window on the forward docking port of Starliner. It's used as a alternate navigation device for the crew specifically, and has a camera that will allow them to see the centerline image of the docking port as they approach ISS on their crew tablets. Additionally, they're going to perform one of the first manual piloting demonstrations coming up as part of the far field piloting checkouts.
Starliner for suit fans and cabin fans when able.
Yes, Houston, go ahead.
All right, we're caught up with our side of the cabin fan reconfig, and so we need you to take both suit fans to OFF and then set all cabin fan speeds to 5.
Okay, both suit fans coming off, and cabin fan speeds, you want all 3 at 5.
Affirmative, good words.
Okay, suit fans are off, cabin fan speeds, Alpha Bravo Charlie at 5.
We see it.
And you are continuing to hear callouts from the ground, namely from the Capcom or capsule communicator, Josh Kutrick, who is supporting Starliner right now. The team in Mission Control Houston is about to go through a shift handover, so we'll then be hearing the voice of Neil Nagata to his left on the screen there, or his right rather. Butch and Sunny are working to configure fans inside of Starliner ahead of upcoming activities. And a bit later this afternoon, they will work to get a camera set up ahead of those far field piloting checkouts. These are checkouts that take place in anticipation of certification of Starliner to ensure that the spacecraft can be.
Starliner, your cabin fan config looks all good. And one last verification for us. Can you confirm that 10.406 is complete? So that's your everything good set up with the WAP, tablets, and Mustang power up.
Yes, we are. That is still in progress. We're almost there.
Copy, thanks.
So again, the crew will begin getting that camera set up here shortly for those far field piloting demos. This demo will utilize visual cues as well as using the attitude direction indicator to ensure that the spacecraft could be piloted manually if required. Though this is not expected or required, this is something that is required for the certification of Starliner. Starliner is an autonomous spacecraft, meaning most operations require no input from the crew. However, the crew will provide a test out manually should that situation be required.
All right, Houston, the WAP is powered. We do have a good bolt, and Saracon camera is almost done.
Copy all, thanks.
And the sat phone battery has been removed.
We copy.
And Commander Butch Wilmore confirming a few things. First, that the wireless access point has been installed and ready for their use for sending spacecraft data to their crew tablets. They also take the battery out of their sat phone. So there's a satellite phone the crew can use in the event of emergency to give them a direct line to emergency personnel once they've landed. But since they're in orbit right now, they're going to go ahead and take the battery out of that and stow it for use. Bring it back up when they re-enter Earth's atmosphere after the mission.
Houston, we're about ready for far-field piloting checkouts on your call. So let us know when we're ready to power the camera and start doing all this, getting set up for it.
Starliner, we copy all. Sounds like we will let you know, but it sounds like we'll be ready on time. I know there's a few items left for the team down here on the timeline, and they're targeting a on-time start for the checkout based on lighting. But more to follow. We'll let you know when we're ready.
That sounds great. Sounds good. Thanks.
And if you're just joining us, we're continuing to bring you live coverage following the liftoff of NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams from Florida at 9:52 a.m. Central Time this morning. At this time, the crew is awake and looking ahead to the far field piloting checkouts. These manual piloting far field demos are conducted in anticipation of eventual certification of the Boeing Starliner spacecraft. This demo ensures that the crew could provide attitude maneuvering and translation control capability manually. While this is not expected or required, this is something, again, that is needed ahead of certification. Because Starliner is an autonomous spacecraft, it means most operations require no input from the crew. However, the crew will provide a test out manually of the far field piloting capabilities just in case that would be required.
Starliner Houston, timeline sync up when able.
Hey, Neil, good to hear your voice. We are with you. Go ahead.
Hey, Sonny. Good afternoon. Yeah, good to hear you guys now on this call. Just looking to see where you are in the cabin monitoring procedure. We just needed to get synced up on a timeline. In particular, when it comes down to the CNS setup, wanted to make sure that you guys were able to get the tablet on charge, and that's working for us. And then battery percentage reports for the tablet for the tablets that you have deployed.
Okay, yes, let me just go over this with you guys, just for what you want to know. That we got all the CNS set up. We've got a tablet plugged in. It's at 77%, so I'm not positive it's really charging. When I first started, it was like 84%.
Okay, Sonny, I think you said that the tablet you had plugged in started at around 84. It's now at 77. And then if we get the other percentages, we'll take the serial numbers for the tablet.
This is serial number 9. We don't have any of the other ones deployed quite yet.
Okay, copy that. And for the other items in cabin monitoring, just looking for a status there, see if we got through that one.
Let me give you a rundown. Handheld switch covers are on. Handheld mic is out. On the battery is removed from the survival radio. Side half safety strap is on. Suits are off. We didn't deploy the curtain yet. I have not pulled out the CSACP quite yet.
Okay.
FDF, we've semi-deployed that. We'll get all the cars up at the end of our piloting demo. The camera is set up. The CG accelerometers are off, and we just have some water out if we need it.
And serial number 12, tablet number 12, it's set up and ready. I just haven't turned it on, trying to save the battery. Do you want me to turn it on and check it?
Yeah, no need right now. And hey, Butch, we'll get the battery status from you once you activate it.
Outstanding. Hey, we haven't heard how the launch looked. Was it pretty sweet?
Hey, yeah.
Pretty sweet from our vantage point, I can tell you that much.
Hey, the coverage looked great for me. I was just sitting at home waiting for ROI to come in. It was a great launch, actually. Weather was perfect.
So there weren't very many clouds obscuring the view?
No, you guys are the only things making clouds. And for the timeline, too, we're going to be ready to take a look at the OCC bold checkout that Sonny's got.
Okay.
And as you know, we also were taking a look at some sublimator performance on the way uphill. We're going to look at trying to perform a sublimator refill, so you guys can take a look at that in the procedure if you want to, if you got some time.
Yeah, are you looking to do that before we hit the rack, or is that something we'll do tomorrow?
Yeah, but it looks like we're going to try to squeeze it in today, but we're still talking it.
All righty.
And that's going to be 10.5.401 when you get there.
10541.
And you did hear those words from the ground up to the Starliner crew. That's NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams. The team here in Mission Control Houston is now being led by the Orbit 3 flight crew and the flight director Ed Van Cise, who's currently on console supporting this leg of the mission. And you will hear a new voice, the capsule communicator, Capcom. You see him there on your screen. That is Capcom Neil Nagata. He'll be the voice that does interface with the crew aboard Starliner. Everything continuing to go smoothly now, over 2.5 hours into today's mission of the Starliner flight. Next major milestone that we are looking ahead towards are the far field piloting checkouts that we've been discussing.
And Sonny, for that tablet that you have plugged into the charger, we'd like you to unplug it and plug it back in, and tell us if the tablet's telling you it's receiving a charge.
All right, she unplugged it and she's plugged it back in. And we've got the little plug symbol that says it's receiving charge.
All right, good news. We'll watch that one for a little bit, then we'll check back on it.
Outstanding.
And Butch and Sonny doing some IT troubleshooting the same way we do on Earth with unplugging it and plugging it back in. But they've confirmed that they've got good charge on the tablet they've got plugged in. Looking forward a little bit, talking about the far-field demos that are going to be manually flown by the crew. We've got a handful, some RHC and THC checkout, comm maneuvers coming up, low power mode recovery, and some manual thrust align and tail to sun maneuver back and forth.
Last thing on the timeline, Starliner, we are ready to accept the bold demo, ready for the first block of PAO words, and then the PMCs, we talked about at a handover, those are optional. You guys just let us know if you want them.
All right, Houston, we copy. We've got numbers for the bold. What are you looking for specifically? And yeah, we'll take a PMC. Why not?
All right, Roger. We'll plan on keeping it. And stand by for bold. All right, Butch, we'll take the deorbit TIGs and the landing sites that you see.
Okay, copy, stand by. All right, Neil, ready to copy?
We're ready.
Okay, orbit 16, 0606, 158, 16, 12, 00, Wilcox, ascending left.
Checking. And Sonny, just verifying it was 16, 11, 58.
Well, we have 16, 12, 00, pretty close.
All right, yeah, copy. That's good. Thanks for the test.
Okay, I've got 3 other sites, but is that all you want?
Yeah, just that one for the OCC there.
Okay, sounds good.
And those calls from NASA astronaut Sunny Williams to the ground, discussing a variety of coordinates should a landing need to take place. We're not tracking anything like that, but this is all part of that certification process. Here on the ground, our FIDOs, our Flight Dynamic Officer, will take those numbers, ensure that everything is tracking well and properly for the trajectory of Starliner. Everything continuing to go smoothly now, 2 hours and 43 minutes into today's flight.
Starliner Houston, we're going to be go for you to start the far field piloting checkouts now, and we'll pick up the PAO later. We need the lighting for the checkouts.
Okay, we like it.
And the team on the ground verifying lighting conditions look good ahead of those far field piloting checkouts, which will begin here momentarily.
And Houston, we assume you've got Mustang activated.
Yep.
And we are awaiting the beginning of the manual piloting far field demo. This demo ensures that the crew could provide attitude maneuvering and translational control capability manually. While we do not expect this, it is part of the certification process for Starliner. One of the requirements for this checkout is that it occurs in daylight, which the crew currently is in a daylight orbit at the moment. We expect this checkout to take about 2 hours. And there's a variety of different manual piloting techniques that they will utilize as part of that certification. Part of it will also include using a stopwatch to take measure of where Starliner is at and ensure it is tracking as expected. As we await the start of these far-field piloting checkouts, one of the first steps that the crew will do is start up the center line camera. If you've been following along, you may be aware that both NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams are test pilots, so this is a great opportunity for them to utilize those skills as they really put Starliner through its paces as part of these far-field piloting checkouts. Another aspect of these manual piloting checkouts that will take place, you might hear the call of something along the lines of bad SIGI recovery demo. Again, as part of these checkouts, you might hear the call bad SIGI or SIGI in recovery mode. That SIGI is the Space Integrated GPS Inertial Navigation System, essentially the GPS that Starliner utilizes to track its location. So as part of these manual piloting checkouts, NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams will put Starliner through its paces to ensure that they could recover should something have gone wrong with that SIGI system. Again, this is all part of the certification process of the Boeing Starliner spacecraft. Other checkouts that they'll do as part of the manual piloting checkouts include pointing the spacecraft tail to sun in an orientation to ensure that Starliner can get power from its solar arrays.
And Starliner Houston, just touching base with you on the far field checkout for making sure that the cameras are set up and we're ready to go.
As you would expect, Houston, the difficulty is getting tied into the Wi-Fi, just like on every other system you've ever tried to tie into. But we have finally got it. So that part is a success. And we're ready to, for 1.2, is moding to sequence 31.
Okay, yeah, and just for my own sake, Wi-Fi to the camera, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it's camera, and also you've got to have the right Wi-Fi so you can zoom via the tablet, all of that.
Yeah, okay, copy that. We'll talk that a little bit later. Yeah, we're ready for 1.2.
And NASA astronaut Butch Wilmore confirming that the camera is set up and in the right configuration ahead of those crew manual piloting checkouts that should be underway here momentarily.
All right, here comes sequence 21, or 31.
Roger.
Commander Butch Wilmore, switching Starliner to flight plan sequence 31. This flight sequence is a contingency coast tail to sun. It's going to be the start of their manual flying parameters, proving their ability to manually pilot the vehicle from a contingency state. A contingency maneuver, contingency plan is if the vehicle is in an off-nominal state. For example, after an emergency or during a time where they need to identify a problem on the vehicle, they'd go to that sequence, and the crew's going to work their way flying from that sequence to a handful of other attitudes and positions per the flight test specifications.
All right, Houston, ready for pulse hold?
Ready.
And Commander Butch Wilmore does now have control of the spacecraft and is conducting those manual piloting checkouts.
The first maneuver that Butch Wilmore will be making is flying nose to Earth to get a good communication with the satellites should they be moving from an out of nominal orientation to one that they can use to help diagnose the problem with the ground.
And if you are just joining us today, we are continuing to provide live coverage following the liftoff of NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams from Florida at 9:52 a.m. Central Time this morning. At this time, the crew, namely the commander, Butch Wilmore, has command of this spacecraft as he works through far-field piloting checkouts. These checkouts are in anticipation of Starliner certification, and he is working to point the spacecraft nadir and select the aft antenna, essentially just pointing the spacecraft in the proper configuration so that they would have the best possible communications if required for manual piloting. Again, this is not something that we expect. However, it is part of the certification process as Starliner is a fully autonomous vehicle.
The Starliner saw the RHC caution go into and out of alarm. Look, transient looks like you're still flying. No action, obviously. Just continue to fly. We're taking a look at it.
Okay, yeah, we're in our first attitude now.
Roger.
All right, we're going manual antennas.
Roger.
Butch Wilmore is switching Starliner's antenna selection, which is normally done automatically based off the scheduled use of, or schedule for the teeter satellites that Starliner and ISS share. But since they are making a off-plan maneuver as part of this flight test objective, they're going to manually select which antenna they're using to get communication with mission control.
All right, Houston, we are in the attitude. It looks like we want to hold for 15 minutes. You concur?
Yeah, concur.
All right, we started time.
Starliner, just be advised, we're right on the edge of the foresight of that antenna, and so we'll just expect Tom to get a little ready.
Appreciate the heads up.
As part of this flight test objective, with an off-nominal pointing of Starliner and trying to get communication with the teacher satellites, Capcom calling up to Butch, letting him know that the direction the antenna is pointed is high bore site, which means the satellite it is pointing at is just at the edge of the cone that the antenna uses to connect to the satellite. During this about 15-minute section of the manual piloting demo, Butch and Sunny will be maneuvering Starliner to point it incrementally in different directions to help improve power generation, which means the crew is going to be trying to tilt the solar array as close to the sun as it can get while still maintaining connection with that antenna to the satellite. This will help charge the batteries while they're in this off-nominal orientation. One of the main reasons that the crew is holding this attitude for about 15 minutes is that it mimics what the crew would need to do in this situation to help point Starliner's solar rays at the sun for about 15 minutes, which equals the amount of time that they will be within a nominal solar day, which is when the sun is visible to the crew from when they started the maneuver.
And the crew is in a day pass at this time as they perform that hold for 15 minutes. This is just to have the ideal configuration to assess that power generation in this process.
Houston, we're back with you. We switched over to lower left antenna.
Roger.
Hey, did you hear my other question? Do we really need to keep the centerline camera powered up? We might want to save the battery, we're thinking. Your thoughts?
Yes, semi. Hey, Butch. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit down here. We're going to want the data from the manual Earth pointing demo.
Okay. All right, well, remind me to, I don't think it's got a chip in it for recording.
Okay, yeah, copy that, and just be advised, it's going to be step 2 when you're doing the attitude recovery demo.
Okay.
And big picture here, Butch, we don't need the video recorded, but we think that y'all are going to want it for the centerline camera view of that activity.
Yeah, I got you, thanks.
And hey, be advised, we deactivated the LWIRs here from the ground as a conservative step to make sure that we don't get any stray light into those sensors.
Copy, thank you.
And as part of the far-field piloting checkouts, the crew continues to hold their attitude as part of that 15-minute timer. This is taking place during a day pass to assess power generation for Starliner. As the Starliner crew continues that 15-minute hold, the crew aboard the International Space Station, that crew of 7, is beginning to wrap up their workday here shortly and looking forward to Butch and Sunny's arrival tomorrow. We are targeting docking of Starliner to the forward port of Harmony at 11:15 a.m. Central Time tomorrow morning, with a hatch opening to follow around 1 p.m. On board the International Space Station, again, there are currently 7 astronauts and cosmonauts living aboard. Those include Oleg Kononenko.
Houston, back with you on the aft antenna. We show about 1 more minute.
Roger. And concur.
Again, the crew on board Space Station includes Oleg Kononenko, who is the current Space Station commander, who just yesterday surpassed 1,000 days of cumulative time in space. Nikolai Chub from Roscosmos, Tracy Dyson of NASA, Mike Barrett of NASA, Matt Dominic of NASA, Jeanette Epps of NASA, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gurbankin. Again, we are targeting that docking tomorrow morning at 11:15 a.m. Central Time.
All right, Houston, we are ready for point mode auto on the antenna.
We'll take it.
Okay, and we're ready for step 2 if you are.
And we're ready too, Butch. And then also for the centerline camera correction, it was step 3 where that would really come in handy.
Yeah, we figured that out. No problem. Okay, inhibiting SIGI 1.
Roger.
All right, we got no white dot on SIGI 1, and over to you, Houston. Stand by.
All right, stand by. Okay, Butch, we've got the attitude bias in on SIGI 1, so we're ready for you to check on step 2.2.2.
2.2.2, here we go. Okay, we're up to 2.3.
Roger.
During this phase of the manual flight test demonstration, Mission Control uploaded a update to the internal estimate on one of the SIGIs, specifically the...
All right, here we go, inhibiting SIGI 2 and SIGI 3.
We're ready.
The inertial navigation system. The Mission Control sent an update to the inertial navigation system 1 on SIGI 1 to change its estimate to be something worse than normal. What Butch is going to do is only use that single SIGI.
And it's expected.
Affirmative. Okay, we got you up.
Roger.
So, Butch Wilmore's flying Starliner, they purposely gave the inertial navigation system of Starliner.
See the same, and we'll just expect Radicom while you're maneuvering.
Sounds good.
With Mission Control sending a bad estimate of Starliner's attitude on purpose to the inertial navigation system, Butch is going to take over manual control and orient Starliner to point at the stars to then update that value to go back into normal range.
And on this graphic on your screen, you can see the Starliner spacecraft as it continues to make its way towards the International Space Station and play a little bit of catch-up here. Again, we are targeting that docking at 11:15 a.m. Central Time tomorrow morning. The crew is continuing a series of far-field piloting checkouts to certify Starliner. And this view from inside the white flight control room, which is the Starliner flight control room of the flight director on console during this Orbit 3 shift, Ed Van Cise, as well as the Capcom or capsule communicator, which is the voice you hear communicating to NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams. That is Neil Nagata.
All right, Houston, we think we got a pretty decent attitude away from the sun, away from the Earth.
Roger.
Here comes tab 23, line, course line.
Roger.
Okay, here comes tab 24.
Ready.
And to just break down a little bit more of what is taking place at this time, Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams are completing those far-field piloting checkouts, particularly when it comes to the bad SIGI recovery mode. The SIGI is the Space Integrated GPS Inertial Navigation System, essentially the GPS system on Starliner. So Mission Control Houston did intentionally send a bad command or bad GPS signal to the Starliner spacecraft, and now the crew in that manual piloting mode is working to utilize...
Looks like everything's confirmed up to 2.4.5, and we're going 0.3.
We concur.
They'll utilize the stars around them in order to maintain that proper navigation.
All right, forcing the attitude update in the SIGI 1.
Roger. And that looked good.
We agree. Going to point hold.
Roger.
And we'll go tab 23 back to final line.
Roger.
And if you're ready, we'll do the load cal from SMC 2.4.7.
We're ready.
So far during this part of the flight demonstration, Butch Wilmore has reoriented Starliner to point at the stars, and this was after MCC sent a purposefully...
All right, we think we like what we see. If you do, we'll do the tab 26 and force SIGI 1 attitude update.
Looks great down here. We're ready.
Butch Wilmore following up after MCC sent a purposefully bad attitude estimation update to the inertial navigation system, pointing at the stars to get a new estimate, clearing the previous estimate, and now they're having Starliner calculate its new estimated attitude.
All right, we like what we see. We'll go tab 4 and 5 and bring back SIGI 2 and SIGI 3 into enable to your current.
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay, Houston. Looks like we're up to step 3, and you've got some steps.
All right, Moose, putting those in work now. I'll let you know when she's done.
Outstanding.
And we're still working on the 3.1 steps, but just be advised, sunset's going to be in about 3 minutes.
Copy.
And Starliner, we're going to go ahead and wait for sunset down here, and then once we're there, we're going to fire up the IRs so you can use them for the plus X align maneuver.
Okay, standing by.
Starliner ready for you to pick up in step 3.2.
Okay, 3.2, here we go.
And NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams continuing to step through procedures as part of those far-field piloting checkouts. At this time, the commander, Butch Wilmore, is working to fly the Starliner spacecraft to the proper attitude. He's utilizing out-of-the-window cues to fly Starliner, given the prior checkouts that took place with the SIGI system. And you do see this graphic on your screen there of some of those simulated thruster firings. We do not have video of the Starliner spacecraft live right now, but this is a pretty good simulation that shows you what is happening with the spacecraft. Those are the RCS thrusters, or the reaction and control thrusters. There are 28 of those on Starliner in all. Each creates about 100 pounds of thrust and really do fine adjustments of the spacecraft as part of this manual far-field piloting checkout. There are also OMAC, or Orbital Maneuvering and Control engines on Starliner. There's 20 of those in all, and each of those produces about 1,500 pounds of thrust and are used for those bigger burns when more large adjustments are needed in the trajectory.
Looks like timing Houston has got us over the ocean and just some lightning to check with, and it's really difficult to show my attitude or determine my attitude from that.
Yeah, I was just looking at that on the world map. Got almost the whole of Indian Ocean to get to. Looks like we'll get you Tasmania and New Zealand here in about, I don't know, what is that, about 15 minutes? And just to reiterate that, it's okay. We can take our time with this one until you get some good visuals.
Yeah, we got you. I think I'm close, but like I said, the wide field cameras, Vestas are not really helping us out much.
Yeah, copy. Hey, Butch, have you tried the IRs? And Butch, sorry about that. If you got some of that, walked right into a little handover there. Have you used the IRs?
Stand by. Yeah, it looks like IR1's not helping us either.
Okay. Ray also mentioned that maybe you can adjust the settings on the centerline camera for gain or exposure and gain on the centerline camera. I mean, we get it. There's not a lot of features over there in the ocean.
Yeah, we. Okay, we're giving it a shot.
Roger.
And so you did hear those words from the Capcom or capsule communicator Neil Nagata up to the commander Butch Wilmore as he utilizes manual flying as part of this checkout. They are flying by looking out the window of the Starliner spacecraft, and you heard them talk about the fact that they're flying over the ocean at the moment, as you can see, so it can be a bit challenging given that there's no major distinguishing landmarks or features, and it is nighttime too, but it's important to do these checkouts.
Right now, I can barely make out the horizon. On the only one I can see really is wide field 2, and we're over black over the Earth, so I see nothing on the out the window either.
Okay. Yeah, copy. That's sort of what we're expecting, but we've also got the gain control on the wide field 2 camera. Did you try that?
Yeah, we'll try it again.
And so, understanding there's no features to track, we'll just sit tight until you get some features to get a fine correction on the attitude, and you can call it good. Just for your situational awareness, I'm showing you guys almost directly due south from the tip of India. So we'll get Tasmania and New Zealand, and the sun will be coming up just after you pass over Tasmania.
Okay, now we've got a little bit of light coming in on Whitefield 2, and it actually looks pretty decent as far as our attitude goes.
Okay. And Butch, you know, for this test and this data gathering, we're just looking for your assessment as to whether or not you think it's good enough. So if you're comfortable with it there, we can take that and make our comparisons with the truth.
Yeah, right now, based on what I can see on the Whitefield 2, it looks pretty decent. I'd probably go with that.
Okay, stand by handing over. All right, but yeah, with that call, we're done with step 3. Machines here on the ground right now are telling me your LVLH pitch yaw roll is 358 180, and you were you were pretty solid there when you started calling down about the lack of features. I had 355 180 before we started adjusting the camera settings. So stand by. We need to talk about step 4 here on the ground, and I'll get right back with you.
Okay, yeah, we'll take that. We're standing by.
Butch Wilmore and Mission Control have been working their way through the end of section 3. At the end of that part of the flight test objective, they were looking for Butch Wilmore to point Starliner at the horizon and determine if he could make out the horizon feature to help use it for navigation for a backup maneuver. It did take a little bit longer than they'd like, but that is because they're currently over about the middle of a darkness period as they're transiting through the southern hemisphere, just a little north of Antarctica, directly south of India. So as they're coming and getting a little bit of light over the horizon, Butch was able to make out the features, and they're going to move on to the next set of test objectives.
Okay, Butch and Sonny, we talked about it here on the ground. We're ready to get into step 4, demo for OCC 4.3. The thing is here, we're going to need some good comm throughout the demo. So before anytime you do a burn, make sure that you either got the comm space to ground display or you're looking at the AOS LOS indication on the waistband, and that'll tell us if we have good comm. Second thing is to remind you here that the timing's really sensitive, so we'll take full-length Tennessee's or Massachusetts as required.
That sounds good. And are you ready for 211 and then override on the guidance ID?
Yeah, we're ready for that. We see 4.2 complete. We're ready for 4.3.
Copy, here we go.
And Starliner, just be advised, we are overriding the IR shutters to close.
We copy. Houston, we're ready for sequence 34.
We'll take it.
And the next portion of the manual piloting far field demo includes a attitude maneuvering, a manual translational control capability in particular to ensure that the crew could take control of the spacecraft and perform that maneuver if required.
8 seconds, Houston.
Roger.
All right, Houston, we're in transpulse point 1 and pulse.
Looks good.
And if you are just joining